Right. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is, as promised, I have uploaded. I'm sure you can see my screen now. I have uploaded your ICE tasks are already there. I just haven't given them to you guys. So when the time is right, I'll give them to you guys. I think maybe after we finish Unit 2, we'll see. And then what else? So I have just ICE tasks for you this semester, okay? But that's also because now you know how to study accounting. Now you've gotten a good idea on how to study accounting. So now it's just about you practicing and putting in the work. All right. So I have also put up your slides for the whole semester. All of them are there. Okay. So that is now also available to you. What else? Then you've got your past papers. You've got your guru content. Don't know what's in the guru content. But yeah, that stuff could also be of assistance to your studies, different voice, different content. And then obviously these are past papers for test 1 and test 2. So once again, I think this semester's structure in terms of whether you guys will have a test 1 or an assignment 1 and then a test, it might be different, but yeah, nonetheless, they will still be asking those types of questions. All right. And then here are some practice questions and stuff like that. So everything from my side, I have provided to you. Last thing that I want to quickly show you. So a lot of you, I'm sure, already know this kind of stuff, but yeah. Just want to make sure that we are all aware and know how to get there. So I'm showing you my YouTube channel. So once you search my name, you just click on that right there. Then this is the textbook that you guys are going to be looking for. Okay. If you want to make it easier for yourselves, just search your module code ACBP 5122. And the moment you've done that, you'll see all the recordings with that module code will be there. So here you can see 1.2, we did that together, and we did 1.3 and 1.4 together. 1.3, yep, and 1.4. Only one we didn't do together was 1.9, and that's because it's much like 1.2 and 1.4. Okay, so do take some time to view that video. On top of that, guys, do the other exercises as well, okay, because you never know what they're going to ask you in relation to the unit, but what we have covered is definitely going to be sufficient in enabling you to obviously answer the questions correctly. Okay, that said, we are actually done with learning unit 1. The assignment is uploaded. Okay. All right, awesome. And Musa, do you know by any chance if the assignment is just learning units 1 and 2, or is it more than that? I just want to know, because in the past your test 1. Okay, that'll be great. That'll be great. If you can do that, I'd appreciate that. Okay, but anyway, let's get into today's work. Let's get into today's work. So today, this learning unit is actually more of a recap than anything. When you guys did learning unit 7 in your accounting 1A, this unit is very closely related to that, okay? So this is just now adding one aspect, and that aspect is the reconciliation of your individual debtors and creditors to your overall debtors control account or creditors control account respectively. But that said, let's get into it. Okay, so all right. So we know that the topic is debtors and creditors reconciliation. So once again, the bookkeeping cycle, we're reconciling what we have in the general ledger in terms of our debtors control account or creditors control account, and we're reconciling that with our debtors ledger or creditors ledger, okay, where we have the individual debtors and individual creditors. All right, and then so here's just a recap. Debtors are individuals or entities that owe our business money. They are listed as current assets, okay? And then creditors are the exact opposite. These are individuals or entities that the business owes money, They are listed as current liabilities. Okay, nothing brand new there. We're comfortable with that. Let's move forward. Okay, debtors control account. An account in the general ledger of the business that reflects the total amount outstanding by the debtors. In other words, the total amount owed to us by our debtors. Okay, the balance of this account must be equal to the total of the debtors list. Okay, so the total that we get on the debtors list is the same total we should get, or the same balance we should get on the debtors control account. And that's the reconciliation. If those two amounts are equal, then we have done our job. We are happy. Okay? Awesome stuff. Then let's go to the creditors control account. Okay. Creditors control account definition: an account in the general ledger of the business that reflects the total amount outstanding to the creditors of the business. In other words, the total amount owed to the creditors by us. All right. The balance of this account must be equal to the total of the creditors list. Okay. They must be equal. Okay. No problem. All right. Then here I'm just sharing with you the procedure. Okay, guys, for homework, I might as well tell you now, I want you guys to do 2.4 and 2.5 in your question. Okay, now this process is even easier, okay, than bank reconciliation. The process here, step number 1, you taking your creditors, all right, or individual debtors ledger, all right, and you're completing that. Once you've completed your individual debtors or your individual creditors, the next step is to create a creditors list or to create a debtors list, okay, which is easy because you're just taking the balances from each individual creditor and then just putting their name and putting that total next to their name, okay. Then after that, you are then meant to balance the creditors control account or the debtors control account. Okay. Then once you have done that, the last thing that you need to do is then compare your debtors control account or your creditors control account to that of your debtors list or your creditors list respectively. Okay, and then you will have completed your job. Okay, all right, so that is unit 2 from a theoretical standpoint. Let us now jump into an exercise. Okay, and I won't close this page because you might just want to refer back to the we might just refer back to the slides. Okay. Thank you very much, Tsepang. Don't worry, Musa. I'm sure you'll get it this time around. Right. Let me quickly give you the homework here. 2.5. Oops. 2.5. So question 2.5. Sorry, let me start 2.4 and 2.5. All right, that's your homework. Okay, awesome stuff. That's what I need you guys to do for homework. I think I'm seeing you again on Thursday. Right, but anyway, let us proceed. Let us proceed. So for now, what I'd like us to do today is to do 2.2, exercise 2.2. Okay, and okay, so we'll get there now. So tell me then in the chat, are you guys there? Are we at exercise 2.2? Give me a thumbs up if you are there, if you are ready to go. Okay, thank you, Tsepang. Thank you, Kellum. All right, cool. So we go to the required as always. And under the required, you can see it says prepare the creditor's ledger, including the creditor's list on 30 June 2009. Then it goes on to say, prepare the creditor's control account for June 2009 in the general ledger of Cape Clothing. The account must be properly balanced and reconciled to the totals of the creditor's list. Okay, that's easy. All right, that's easy. That shouldn't be too much work for us. Okay, then we look to see what other additional information. Thank you, Shakira. To see what other additional information do we have in relation to the question. So it says Cape Clothing buys and sells a variety of clothing items and uses a perpetual inventory system. The business is a registered VAT vendor, and it is the policy of the business to buy only from other vendors who are able to provide tax invoices. Okay, June 2009 was the business's second month of trading. The following transaction codes are used by Cape Clothing. Codes used in the creditor's ledger. Okay. All right, we're not going to go over that because really those codes, we're not going to use them. All right. Typically, yes, you would use them, but they give you the codes. So it's literally what code? Oh, okay. I bought something, so I use that code. Oh, this is an EFT, so I use that code. Okay. We paid off this account. Okay, we use that code. If it's a settlement discount, we use that code. So really, it's a copy and paste job. So what else do we have there? We have the creditors list of Cape Clothing on 31 May 2009. Okay, why do we have 31 May 2009, the creditors list? Whilst you guys are thinking about it and getting ready to answer, we also have the creditors journal of Cape Clothing for June 2009, creditors journal. Okay, remember the creditors journal, what is that for? For when we buy on credit. Then we have the creditors allowance journal. Remember, this is for when we make returns for goods we initially bought on credit, when we also request a rebate. Okay, we also use this, or when we have been overcharged, we use the creditors allowance journal. Okay, so we have that, and that's for the month of June as well. Then we have the cash book payments of Cape Clothing. All right, so that is also for the month of June, cash book payments or the cash payments journal. I see your question there, Tsapang. I'm just going to finish this last table and then I'll read it and see how we can best assist. Then we have the general journal for the month of June as well. All right, for the month of June as well. Right, what is Tsapang asking us? So, quick question. A debtor list is when the business draws up a list normally at the end of the month or at the year end showing the money owed by debtors on that date. Yeah, so typically, yes, it would be at the end of the month, typically, but you could draw it up at any point in time. Have I answered your question? All right, awesome stuff. All right, cool. So, who's going to answer my question? We need May to, so we know who owes us for the present month, I think. Okay, yes, Shakira, so you definitely are on the money. We need May so we know who we owe. Because remember here, we're not talking about debtors, but we're actually talking about creditors. So since we're talking about creditors, we're talking about people we owe. Okay, but you're 100% on the money. We need to know, do we owe people money? All right, is there an opening balance with this creditor or not? So it's about our opening balances, okay? But thank you for that, Shakira. Thank you for that. We do appreciate your participation. Yes. Okay, so just a quick one before we start to get into the question. If you look at question 2.1, okay, and I want you guys to do this in your own time, all right, just going to be good practice. Question 2.1 is the same, very same question, okay, but now they're just doing it with the debtors, okay? So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do 2.2 with you so I can do the other questions that are more that are variant in the way that they ask the questions. Okay, so 2.1, do it when you have a chance. Okay, it is from the debtor side. Okay, so it's a good practice. But since we've done this in Learning Unit 7, I said no, let me just do question 2.2 and then we'll do some other varying questions. Awesome stuff. That said, let's jump into this head on. Okay, cool. So that was for the previous class. Let's give you guys a fresh question. Okay, so whilst it's loading, they wanted us to do the individual debtors. Okay, and there, if you look at May, you see all the individual debtors that we have. All right, for the most part. Okay, so that's where we want to start. And like Shakira highlighted, those are our balances. Okay, so that's where we want to start. Remember our process. Let's go back to our process. First step, we need to do the individual debtors or individual creditors. So let's start here with our individual creditor. The first one that we have, according to the creditors list for last month, was with Top Fabrics. Cool. So I've already taken the balance there, okay, and I've plugged it in there. Let me just get rid of these unnecessary tables, columns. Okay, this column don't really seem to be wanting to cooperate. Okay, there we go. So we go to the first journal, the creditors journal. We look for Top Fabrics and we see it there on the first. So all we need to do, if you want to be prim and proper, you can write invoice, okay, invoice dash, and then you look under doc number, you see IV 658. Okay, and then obviously in Folio, remember this is a recap, we just put CJ. Okay, and then somebody tell me in the chat that we know that we're taking the amount out of the creditors control column, so it's definitely going to be that 31,788. Okay, but now are we going to debit or are we going to credit that amount? Are we going to debit or credit that amount? What are we doing here? Somebody talk to me in the chat or in the yes, we're going to credit 100%. Yes, we're going to credit. Now the question is why? Okay, and this tests to see how well you know your journals. Remember what's happening in the creditors journal? It's when we buy on credit. So if we are buying on credit, that means that what we owe Top Fabrics is going to increase, and we know it's a liability. So what do? Liabilities increase on the credit side, decrease on the debit side. Let me see. So this is a negative and this is a positive. All right. Okay, cool. Now let's get back to writing, to regular stuff. Wait. This is what I want to click on. Okay, so we set the 31,788. Okay, right. So that's obviously then going to change our balance. Our balance is then going to become going to become 43,444.60. All right. Then we go to the next journal. Sorry, excuse me. We go to the next journal, and in the next journal we have the creditors allowance journal. Here, remember, we're making returns. Okay, again, you can write credit note if you want to be prim and proper, or you can just you have to write, well, you can write credit note and then write NT, what is this, 65. All right, or you can literally just write NT 65. Okay, but what we need is this doc number. You have to do the doc number. Same principle here. You could leave out invoice, but make sure you put IV 658. That's where the mark is. Okay, so that's CAJ. This is going to reduce. Oh, guys, I didn't finish this thing. I thought I had put a positive there. Okay, so here, how much was this? 5,403.96. Okay, and again, guys, if you have any questions, please. Yes, 100%, Sabang, 100%. Okay. Right. Callum, I'm not so sure when you say debit balance what you're referring to. But let me know if you have any questions there with what we have done. Okay. Cool. So we then move on to the next journal. I just want to remind you guys, you can switch on your mics just in case I don't notice your chat. It's more than welcome. Cash book payments, so that means we're paying money. Money is leaving us. So therefore, if money is leaving us, who is it going to? There you see Top Fabrics, and you see in the creditors control that 36,518.5 cents. Okay, so here again you could write check, which is what I'm going to do. Let me try and teach you proper things. And then the check number was CC881. Okay, and here you're going to put CPJ. Okay, and that also is going to decrease what is owed to this creditor. So it's then obviously going to be a debit. Okay, let's see. 36,518.
Sir,
Yebo.
I would like to ask, why is it a debit, the check?
Okay, so good question. Now, what's happening here? What are we doing? Are they writing us a check or are we writing them a check?
I think we're writing them a check.
Okay, we are definitely writing them a check. Why? Because this is coming out of the cash payments journal. Does that make sense? So it
Oh,
means we're
yes.
the ones who have made a payment.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Oh, you answered. You're good.
Yes, yes, I think I got the loop, but you can still explain for some that still don't understand, sir, with that question.
All right, no problem. All right, let me do that. So since we are paying them, remember who is Top Fabrics to us? Top Fabrics is a creditor. It's someone we owe. Okay. So since we owe them, right? Let me just quickly plug in this balance that we have here after returning some of these goods. 38,040.64. Okay. So we owed them 38,000, okay? And then we wrote them a check for 36. So that means that we now owe them less. And that's why we're debiting, okay? If we had taken out more goods with them, we would have been crediting. Because remember, it's a liability. Liabilities increase on the credit side, decrease on the debit side. Okay, so I trust that then answers most of us. Okay, so this is why I'm saying it's very important that you understand Unit 7 if you're going to be fine over here. Okay. All right, 5-9. Okay. Then over here we check in the general journal. Do we have any transactions? Yes, we do. We had a settlement discount. Okay. And where am I picking that up? I'm reading in the brackets, the narration. We had a settlement discount. Okay, no problem. Right. So settlement discount is going to decrease our account. And there you can see creditors control. What did they do? They debited it. Okay. So here all you're going to write is journal voucher. Forgot the R. All right. Again, you could have just written JC 56, and I'd advise that you do that in a test or exam setting. Just write the doc number, just to save you time. But I mean, if you have done your job, you've had your practice, yeah, by all means, write this stuff. It'll impress me or whoever's marking your paper. It's a good look. It's a good look. Shows you know your story. You know what type of source document is generated. Okay, so now we have the balance for the first creditor. Okay, so at the end of the month, end of June, we didn't owe him anything. It was 0. Okay, right. We go to the next one. We do the exact same thing. We look for everywhere we see Yearn World. So in May, how much did we owe Yearn World? It was this 11,126.80 cents. We go into the creditors journal. Did we buy anything from them on credit? Yes, we did. So let's quickly jot that down. This time I'm just going to write the 659. Okay, that is obviously the creditors journal. Okay, how much did that cost us? 29,139. Okay, and then that changed the balance to be what? What was the balance of what was owed to them? 40,265.80 cents. Okay, we then go to the next one. We see the next journal, and we see Yearn World again. So then we just say NT66, and that is the creditors allowance journal. Okay, and that's going to reduce what we owe them. So we're going to debit that, and that is 5,002.4502 cents. Okay. Then what's the balance of what is owed to them? It's also going to decrease 35,020.78 cents. Okay, awesome stuff. Go to the next journal. You guys are obviously putting in the date. You guys are obviously putting in the code. Okay, I'm just focusing on the key areas here. Right, just in the interest of time. So we go to the cash payments journal. Did we pay Yearn Fabric? Or Yearn World, sorry. Yearn World. Yes, we did. On the 26th. So there we can just write CC 883. That's the cash payments journal. We're debiting that as well because it's going to reduce that account 748.34. So what's the balance on this account now? Should be 33,272.44. Okay. All right. Another reason why I'm not doing that with you is because that's a plus minus job. I know you guys would not be in our classes if you had a problem with plussing and minusing. Okay. Okay, so we are done now with this second creditor. Okay, we can now move on to the third. We've got 5 creditors. So hopefully we can finish them before we call for a break. So our next creditor was Saba, and yes, we had an opening balance with them. We plugged that in, and let me just see if there's anything anyone has mentioned in the chat. A code, okay? So a code, remember, a code is what type of transaction just took place, okay? Codes used for creditor's ledger. Those are the codes. So if you look at code 1, code number 1, I'm looking at the beginning of the question. Are you with me, Callum? Can you see the codes that yeah, you can see the codes. Okay, perfect. So if you look there, it says code number 1, credit purchases according to original invoices. Yes, fill in the folio because there might be a mark there. I would advise that you definitely do that. Okay. There's usually, at minimum, there's usually 1 or 2 marks for the folio. All right. So just going on with what Kellum was asking. Credit purchases according to the original credit invoice. So there you see, whenever you have a credit purchase, you're going to have to put the code, like here the code was actually entered, 01, whenever there's a credit purchase. And we know that if we look at the creditors journal, that first transaction, the transaction that took place with Seba on the 11th, we're buying. So that's a credit purchase. So we've put in that code of 01, then here we're putting CJ, okay, and here we're obviously going to then credit the amount, which is this 5224.44. 50. Okay, then let's adjust this balance. What's the new balance here? The new balance is then 12,709.90. Okay, now what's the next transaction? Let's quickly see that we have with Seba. All right, let's see. So are they in the creditor's allowance journal? Yes, they are. Okay, what's happening in the creditor's allowance journal? If you look there, code number 2, it says returns or rebates according to original credit notes. Okay, so we know that if we're entering something in the creditor's allowance journal, it's because we have a return or a rebate or we've been overcharged. All right, one of those three. So then the code we put down is 02. Okay, then we put the invoice number or the document number NT67. Okay, and then here we have CAJ, and then here the amount is 68.19. Okay, and then that leaves us at a balance of 12,000. That should be 600 and something. 641.71 cents. Okay, right. So now do you understand what the codes are all about? So we put in the code depending on what transaction you have over there, what transaction transpired, should I say, with that particular creditor. Okay, all right, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay, cool. Right, so let's go on to the fourth creditor. All right, and this is Cotton King. We have one more. Okay, so we've plugged in the opening balance there. Let me just do this right now. Okay, so again, we look through our books. We see that he is there in the creditor's journal. Hey, okay, so IV661, cool, and then CJ, okay, then we're crediting the amount of 23,841. Okay, well, 00. So that leaves us at a balance of 40 something. $43,385. 32. Okay, we look, see what other transactions we did. Is there in the creditor's allowance journal. Okay, that's fine. So NT68. CAJ under Folio, and that's obviously going to decrease his account. That was 2,860.92 cents. What's the balance now? The balance now is 40,324. 40 cents. Okay, we move on to the next journal. Let's see if he's there. Did we pay him or her? No, we didn't. We didn't pay this creditor. Can you see that? They're not there in the cash payments journal. Okay. Do we have them in the general journal? Nope, we don't have them in the general. Actually, we do. Interest paid. Okay, so they charge us interest. Can you see there in the narration? Interest on overdue amount, 9% per annum. Okay, so here you can really just write JC58. Okay, and then you just put GJ there. This is going to increase their account because they charged us interest. Okay, 304.93. Another way to look at it is what happened there. Creditors control. Remember, we're looking for wherever we see creditors control. And you can see they credited that amount. So then, what's the new total here? This is 4829.33. And there you go. Okay, so we've dealt with the fourth guy, and we have one more. And this creditor, we don't have an opening balance for this creditor. Okay, so we go straight into the journals. Office City, sorry. We did take out stock with them because in the creditors journal, you can see the last transaction IV 662 CJ. So we're going to credit this balance. Remember, the amounts that we use whenever we're playing around with the individual debtors or creditors is the VAT inclusive amount. Okay, balance is going to be the same, 5229.13. All right, then we go to the creditors allowance journal. In the creditors allowance journal, we do have them there. NT69 CAJ, going to debit that amount 941.24. That's obviously then going to reduce our balance to 4,287.89. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your individual debtors. So we have dealt with step number 1, and that is doing your individual debtors. Okay, we are going to need to do the individual, what is this? Creditors list. Did I say individual debtors? I meant to say individual creditors. Yeah, so we've dealt with the individual creditors. Now we just need to obviously do the creditors list, but we'll do that after the break. Let me see if there are any questions or thoughts from your side. I hope thus far we are all together. Okay, no more questions. All right, so if you do have any questions, guys, just throw them in the chat. Thank you, Etienne. Glad you are all good. Just throw them in the chat, and then when we get back together, we will jump into that question before proceeding with the content. And I do recall Tsepang confirmed that we, for your assignment, it's exercise, unit 1 and 2. So yeah, guys, yeah, it's 1 and 2. So by the end of next week, we will be done with learning unit 2. So you will be ready and able to do your assignment. Okay. That said, let's take our break, and I'll see you guys at 11.